The Summer Game Fest 2022 kicked off yesterday, and while the majority of the show was sort of disappointing, it did admittedly start off with a bang, as the first game we got a better look of was Callisto Protocol. So what is Callisto Protocol? Well, this game is the spiritual successor to a legendary game in the space horror genre, namely Dead Space. Not only that, but Callisto Protocol comes from the mind of one of the co-creators behind the original Dead Space itself, Glen Schofields, who also founded Striking Distance, the studio behind this wonderfully disgusting game. And it's not hard to see the striking similarities with Dead Space, as there are a lot of them. Fact is, a lot of the things we see in this new in-depth gameplay presentation shows that this is very much Dead Space but set in another universe. One of these similarities you'll notice probably immediately is the third-person perspective, and of course the setting itself. Being a horror game set in space, we see a lot of blood and gore mixed in with a high-tech environment. Speaking of the environment, Callisto Protocol looks absolutely incredible at this stage in development, and as the game shares so many similarities with Dead Space, it'll probably look even better after its release in December. Now, as I mentioned that this was a gameplay presentation, I of course have to talk about the gameplay itself. And would you look at that, the gameplay again looks very much like Dead Space, as we can see the player in question go from using a handgun to using a weapon that is reminiscent of the cutter from Dead Space. Now, why you'd want to use these kinds of cutting type weapons is because, well, again, Dead Space being the inspiration, had the exact same system where you shot the limbs off of the main enemy, the necromorphs, either to kill them or incapacitate them. It does look like Callisto Protocol is going to be using a more complex cutting system though, as you can even see the bone sticking out of what's rest of this monster's arm after the protagonist shoots it off. A more complex layering system is also something that the team behind the upcoming Dead Space remake are working on, so chances are that the gameplay is going to be somewhat identical to the remake. As per tradition when it comes to these games, Striking Distance has also including the classic stomping mechanic into Callisto Protocol as well. You know, just to make sure that the mutated freaks stay down. There is also some form of gravity gizmo that you'll get to equip, probably somewhere around mid-game. This thing lets you grab the mutated monster thingies and throw them around, sort of like the gravity gun from Half-Life. There's probably gonna be different types of armor you can find throughout the game, as we're shown how the main character equips a suit that is again very reminiscent of the classic suit that Isaac Clarke used in Dead Space. And of course, Callisto Protocol will also feature some gruesome death animations for when you die, which is again textbook Dead Space. And then there's the fact that the UI will work in the same way as Dead Space, where you'll see the interface in-game through the prisoner using his suit in different ways. And now that we've talked about the gameplay, what do we know about the story? Well, that's a good question. So far, we know that the main character, who's also referred to as the prisoner, is named Jacob Lee. Judging from the narration from the trailer, Jacob seems to be part of a crew that crash-landed on Callisto, which is one of Jupiter's moons. Unfortunately, it looks like Jacob was the only survivor and that the mysterious narrator rescued him, only to subsequently put him in the prison known as Black Iron. Now, this mysterious narrator sounds like the warden of the prison, and from the outside perspective, it looks like the warden is the one responsible for the ongoing alien mutant disaster that's happening on Callisto. Now, according to the creator, Glen Schofields, he wanted to keep some form of realism to the setting, and as the game is set in the year 2320, humans have started to colonize the Milky Way galaxy. Now in the real world, Callisto, being Jupiter's moon, is also known as one of the possible planetary candidates that might have a subsurface ocean under all its ice. And according to Glen, there's a connection between what's happening at Black Iron Prison and the believed ocean under the ice. What this could mean is all but a mystery. My own guess is that there might be an underwater species lurking about, or at least bacteria that starts mutating organic matter. Which would make sense considering that the warden sounds more like a mad scientist, which would make the prison a big experiment, which is also a pretty common trope in storytelling. Also, since Callisto Protocol is published by Krafton, it was at first supposed to be set in the same universe as the popular battle royale game PUBG, which is the game that Krafton are most known for. But Glen Schofields recently stated that this is not the case anymore and that it's a separate universe altogether. Anyway, I'm personally really looking forward to seeing more of Callisto Protocol, and with the Dead Space remake releasing in January 2023, which is just a month after Callisto Protocol, which releases in December, the future seems to be looking bright for space horror fans. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, have a great day guys. Mr. Olton, signing out.